Welcome everyone to Fairy Crane Tea. I'm Dawn, and this is a space where we explore Chinese culture through the principles of tea. Tea here is not just a beverage or product, it is a way of learning. In this episode, we begin by asking one simple question: why tea? And why does it matter where we begin? Tea doesn't begin when you lift the cup. It begins earlier when you decide to pause. The act of making tea interrupts momentum. You stop moving forward long enough to heat water, prepare the leaves, and wait. In that pause, something subtle happens. You cross a threshold from doing into being. Historically, tea spaces were intentional spaces. They weren't rushed environments. They were places where time softened. Entering tea meant leaving urgency at the door. This is why tea is often a beginning. Not because it teaches information, but because it changes how you show up. Many people sense that intuitively. They feel calmer, slower, more present, but they don't know why. Tea doesn't announce what it's doing. It just does it. In much of the modern world, tea is categorized alongside coffee, soda, juice, beverages. Something functional, something consumed, something that fits neatly into a routine designed for efficiency. But when tea is approached this way, something essential is lost. Historically, tea in China was never about hydration or flavor alone. It was a social technology, a philosophical practice, a cultural container. When tea is reduced to a beverage, it becomes something you use. When tea is understood as a beginning, it becomes something that changes how you move, how you listen, how you relate. This episode isn't about convincing you to do tea correctly. It's about opening a door to a different way of understanding what tea has always offered. Tea doesn't begin when you lift the cup. It begins earlier when you decide to pause. The act of making tea interrupts momentum. You stop moving forward long enough to heat water, prepare the leaves, and wait. In that pause, something subtle happens. You cross a threshold from doing into being. Historically, tea spaces were intentional spaces. They weren't rushed environments. They were places where time softened. Entering tea meant leaving urgency at the door. This is why tea is often a beginning. Not because it teaches information, but because it changes how you show up. Many people sense that intuitively. They feel calmer, slower, more present, but they don't know why. Tea doesn't announce what it's doing. It just does it. Tea belongs to an older way of learning, one that existed long before manuals, certifications, or a structured curricula. In traditional culture, Chinese culture, much knowledge was transmitted through observation. You watched, you repeated, you adjusted. Tea operates in the same way. If the water is too hot, the tea tells you, not through words, but through bitterness. If you rush the leaves, they respond. There is no scolding, no instruction, only feedback. This kind of learning requires humility. You have to admit that you don't know yet, and that knowing will come through attention, not explanation. For many of us, this feels uncomfortable. We're used to being told what to do. Tea refuses that dynamic. Tea waits until you're ready to listen. I want to take a break here between the podcast just to say thank you. We are a new business and we appreciate those who have been listening to our podcast, watching our videos, our social media, and who have come over to Patreon. Our Patreon members get the podcast 1 week early, and they get additional worksheets and reflections or a mini lesson after each podcast. And so we do want to say thank you to those members. And in addition, we have our online classes that are available starting February 15th of 2026. We have course in tea, which contains 9 lessons. 2 of those are bonus lessons. And then we have our culture class about Chinese culture. And it is 6 lessons, of 2 of those being bonus lessons. Our Patreon members receive 2 of the tea classes and 1 of the culture class starting on February 15th. That'll include PDFs, worksheets, and all kinds of materials and reflections from me. And they will receive the full set of courses early, and then they will be made public for everyone for purchase. So at this time, if you want to take part of them, go on over to our Patreon. We are at Fairy Crane Tea. You can also watch videos on travel at our YouTube. We have YouTube Shorts where we do stay with our theme and give you information on tea origins, and culture. And same with our Instagram. You can watch the reels, and there are posts with good information. And so thank you guys. If you do go to our Instagram, follow us at Fairy Crane Cha, C-H-A. Everywhere else you will find us at Fairy Crane Tea. Thank you. And now back to our podcast. There's a difference between a habit and a practice. A habit is something you repeat automatically. A practice is something you return to with attention. When tea becomes a practice, the focus shifts. It's no longer about making the best tea. It becomes about noticing what changes. in the tea and in you, you begin to notice your pace, your breathing, your impatience. And over time, tea practice removes excess. It simplifies. It reveals patterns, not just in brewing, but in how you approach life. Tea doesn't demand improvement. No, it invites awareness. Many modern systems prioritize mastery, credentials, expertise, authority. Tea doesn't care about any of that. Tea responds to sincerity, to care, to presence. A rushed beginning creates a shallow relationship. A careful beginning creates a deep one. This is why beginners often experience tea more fully than experts. They're not trying to prove anything. They're simply present. Tea reminds us that beginnings matter, not because they're perfect, but because they set a tone. Tea changes how people sit together. It slows conversation, it allows silence, and it removes the need to perform. This is why tea historically has been used for diplomacy, mentorship, and reconciliation. You don't argue over tea, you sit. Tea creates a shared rhythm, and rhythm is often more powerful than language. This is how tea bridges cultures, not through explanation, but through presence. Tea is a beginning because it orients you. How you notice, how you wait, how you relate. It doesn't rush transformation, it allows it. If you carry nothing else from this episode, carry this. You don't need to master tea. You only need to begin well. Until next time, let tea meet you where you are. Tea doesn't ask us to know more, it asks us to notice more. In the next episode, we'll talk about what daily tea practice teaches us about culture from the inside. Until then, let your next cup be enough.